And in this chapter we will study about the first of all what is force, then second types of forces, then effect of forces. This chapter include forces, types of forces, and effect of forces. In lower classes there is a simple definition of force, that is, force is a push or pull. But here we study the effect of force. What is the effect of force? With the effect of force, object move faster, object can move slower, object can stop, object can change their position and direction, or change the size or shape of body. So with the help of force we can change the shape or size of body, we can change the direction of moving object, and we can stop the moving object. For example, suppose here any object and this object move in this direction. This is the direction of motion of the object, and we apply a force in the opposite direction of this motion. This is your applied force. If we apply a force in the opposite direction of motion, this is the direction of motion, in such a case there is decrease in speed of object. That is, we can change the speed with the help of applied force. So after applying a force, a body can change their motion. If we apply a force in the opposite direction of motion, then there is a decrease in speed. Decrease in speed means there is a slow motion of object. Second, if we apply a force in the direction of motion, this is the direction of motion of object, and we apply a force in the same direction, in that case there is increase in speed of object. That is, object move faster. Second, if we apply a force such that if we apply a force on object, this is the direction of motion of object, and we apply a force in opposite direction, so with the help of this opposing force we can stop the moving object. Next, we can also change the direction of moving object. If we apply the force in perpendicular direction to this object, then there is a change in direction of body. So with the help of force and due to force, an object can move faster, slower, stop, change direction, or change size or shape. This is your definition. That is, a force is a push or pull that cause an object to move faster or slower, stop or change direction, or change the shape or size. Without force, nothing would ever move. Without force, it is very tough to move any object. Next is, what is the unit of force? The standard unit of force is Newton. And denoted by letter N. It must be remembered that a force does not always make an object move. For example, if we apply a force on this box, this is your large size box, and we apply a force on this box, and there is no displacement in this box, that is, there is no change in position, but in this case we apply the force. It is not compulsory after applying the force there should be a displacement. This must be remembered that force does not move always make a object move. That is, it is not compulsory if you apply a force and there is a motion. For example, if you apply a force on a wall, then there is a no motion, but in that case we apply a force. Now a push or pull acting on a body which tends to change its state of rest or state of motion is called force. Force is usually noted by letter F. And direction of force, direction in which the body is pushed or pulled, is called the direction of force. In this case, this is the direction of force. This is the direction of force because this is the example of pulling. And in this case, this is the direction of force because this is the example of pushing. The direction in which the body is pushed or pulled is called direction of force. Therefore, force is a vector quantity. Force is a vector quantity, and vector quantities are those quantities which has magnitude as well as direction, because there is a direction of force, and direction of force is, in case of pushing or pulling, the direction in which the body is pushed or pulled is called direction of force. Then the unit of force, that is Newton. And your next is, that is types of forces. There are two types of forces are there. Number one, contact force. Number two, non-contact force. What is your contact force? First of all, pay attention on the example. In this case, this is the example. We apply a force on the spring. This is the direction of force, and this is the direction of force. While applying the force on the spring, there is a direct contact between a person and a spring. This is the direct contact with the person and spring. In second example, there is a direct contact between player and wall, because player kick a ball or a football. After kicking, ball experience a force in this direction. This is the direction of force experienced by ball, and there is a contact between player and wall. This is the example of contact force. Again, this is the example of contact force. Here, a person apply a force on a cart, and there is a contact between cart and a person. If there is direct contact between person and object, that is the contact force. What is the contact force? For an object to pull or push, there should be a contact between the two objects. In this case, there is a contact between two objects. In this case, there is a contact between two objects. In this case, there is a contact between two objects. This is the example of, these are the examples of contact force. So for an object to pull or push, there should be a contact between the two objects. Examples: when a coiled spring is stretched, your stretched spring, the two ends of the spring must be in actual contact with the hands of the person. There is actual contact with the hand of person. Kicking a football, pulling a cart are contact force. Such a force is called contact forces, or such a force is called contact force. Contact force is a force which act only when the objects are in physical contact with each other. This is the definition. That is, contact force is a force which act only when the objects are in physical contact with each other. Your second is non-contact force, and this is the example of non-contact force, because there is a force between earth and apple. There is a force between earth and apple, but there is no contact between apple and earth. Such type of force is non-contact force. non-contact force. Second example, this is your magnetic force. There is a force of attraction between North Pole and South Pole. There is a force of attraction between South and North Pole, but there is no contact between North and South. This is also example of non-contact force. Now, what is the non-contact forces? That is action at a distance force or non-contact force. There are some kinds of force which can exert from a distance without touching the object. For example, magnetic force, because there is a force of repulsion, and in this case there is a force of attraction between north and south, and here same between same pole there is a force of repulsion, but there is no actual contact between two poles. Same here, there is no actual contact between two poles. Such type of forces are known as non-contact forces. For example, magnet can exert pull, that is attraction, or push, that is repulsion, on another magnet even when the two magnets are at distance from each other. There is a distance between two magnets, but still there is a force of attraction or repulsion. The force which can act even without any actual contact between the two objects is called action at a distance or non-contact force. Another example of non-contact force, that is gravitational force. This is the example of gravitational force, because there is a force of attraction between apple and earth. Another example of gravitational force, that is there is a force of attraction between sun and earth, and due to this force of attraction earth revolve around the sun. This is also an example of non-contact force, because there is no contact between sun and earth. Force of attraction between moon and earth. Moon revolve around the earth, but there is no contact between moon and earth. These are the examples of non-contact forces. Another example of non-contact forces, that is electrostatic force. Electrostatic force is the force between two charged particles. Between two same charge there is a force of repulsion, and between